Planting heat-tolerant seeds in the eastern United States requires careful planning and preparation, especially when facing predictions of a hot summer and potential drought. The region's climate, characterized by high humidity, intense heat, and variable rainfall, can pose significant challenges for us gardeners. However, with the right strategies, you can create a thriving garden even under these conditions. Here's a detailed guide on how you can prepare your garden for drought and achieve success with heat-tolerant planting. So, first thing to do is understanding the climate and its challenges. The southeastern U.S. typically experiences long, hot summers with temperatures often exceeding 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Combined with the potential for drought, this creates stress for plants, particularly those that are not well suited for such conditions. Soil moisture evaporates quickly here, and plants can struggle to establish roots or produce fruit. So recognizing these challenges is the first step in planting a resilient garden here in the southeastern United States. So preparing the garden for the drought. They are calling for a lot of hot weather this summer and potentially a drought. So what we need to do is we need to improve the soil health. Healthy soil is the foundation of a drought-resistant garden. You want to add organic material, incorporate compost, well-rotten manure, or leaf mold into your soil. Leaf mold. I can't talk this morning. Sorry about that. Leaf mold into your soil. Organic matter improves water retention and provides essential nutrients to plants. So, well, like we talked about the other day about testing your soil, you can have that done at your local cooperative extension. You can get a soil test yourself to do. So you want to conduct a soil test to determine a pH and nutrient level. Most vegetables prefer a slightly acidic soil, the pH of a 6.0 to a 6.8. Adjust as needed with lime or sulfur. Mulch heavily. We talked about that also. If you're going to be doing a back to Eden garden, you use a lot of mulch, a lot of wood chips. So you want to apply about a 2 or 4 inch layer of organic mulch. You can use straw, wood chips, or leaves around your plants. Mulch conserves soil moisture and moderates soil temperature, and it also suppresses weeds. I don't know about you, but I hate pulling weeds. I hate it. And touching a little bit back on the lasagna garden and the Back to Eden garden, it can help with drought conditions by improving soil structure and water retention, reducing the need for frequent watering, and creating a more resilient garden environment. Lasagna garden involves layering your organic materials like your cardboard, your leaves, your straw, your compost, grass clippings directly on the soil. And then, you know, these layers break down over time, enriching the soil with organic matter that holds moisture and supports plant roots during dry periods. The mulch-like top layer also, it reduces evaporation and it suppresses those nasty weeds, and it also, they compete for water. So back to the Eden garden, it focuses on using a thick layer of wood chips as mulch, and this method mimics natural forest floors, and where organic matter decomposes slowly and it conserves moisture. The wood chips act as a barrier to evaporation and moderate soil temperature, and gradually add nutrients to the soil as they break down. You know, I can really relate to that. I can understand that because I know at my cabin in the Appalachian Mountains, We have a tremendous amount of natural compost there. You have all of the leaves in the forest, the Danube National Forest, a lot of the wood, and what that helps the soil there, because that is a rocky soil to plant in. If you didn't have those things, you probably could not even grow a garden there. So I think that both methods reduce soil erosion, and it improves water infiltration, and it creates a more drought-tolerant garden by fostering a healthy, moisture-retentive soil ecosystem. And these approaches align well with the strategies for a drought-resistant garden in the southeastern United States, such as heavy mulching and soil improvement mentioned earlier. So yes, you can start planting a lasagna garden or a Back to Eden garden now, and also plant seeds or seedlings. These methods are designed to improve the soil health and water retention immediately, while also supporting plant growth over time. And here's how it works. Okay, we talked about the layering the material in the lasagna garden, and you can plant seeds or seedlings directly into the top layer of the compost or the soil as soon as the layers are in place. The organic materials will continue to break down and improve the soil while your plants continue to grow. And basically, you know, the same method with the Back to Eden garden, and you know, adding the thick layer of wood chips can also help conserve moisture, like we talked about, and suppress the weeds. And you can plant your seeds or seedlings by parting the soil chips to access the soil beneath and planting directly into it. And these wood chips will gradually improve the soil as they decompose. I prefer the lasagna garden method over the Back to Eden. I did it before, and that's the one thing that I thought that was a challenge for me, was having to get to the dirt underneath the compost or those wood chips. Now, if you let those wood chips sit for a whole year so they can break that soil, break them down into the soil, then hey, it's going to be a whole lot easier. But both methods allow for immediate planting while setting the stage for long-term soil improvements and drought resistance. However, ensure that the soil beneath the layer is adequately prepared, loosened, and amended if necessary to give seeds and seedlings the best start. For heat-sensitive plants, consider providing temporary shade or planting heat-tolerant varieties to account for the current season's condition. So you want to make sure you optimize your water management. Efficient water use is critical during a drought. So install drip irrigation. Drip systems deliver water directly to the root zone, minimizing the evaporation, and it also ensures plants get the water that they need. Collect your rainwater. You can get some of these IBC totes on Facebook Marketplace. They hold about 250 gallons to 300 gallons of water, and you can just catch your rainwater from a gutter system off your roof. Use your rainwater in the time, you know, to help water your garden. So you can set up rain barrels, like I said, and water deeply and infrequently. Encourage deep root growth by watering less often than more thoroughly. This helps the plants access moisture deeper into the soil. So you want to water early in the day. Watering in the morning reduces water loss due to the evaporation from the sun, and it helps prevent fungal diseases. You know, one year I had fungus all over my squash, and I think it was because of how I was watering them. So you want to make sure that you water everything in the morning. and you want to create shade and wind protection. Now, if you can use shade cloth. For example, over here, I've not put the plastic up on my greenhouse yet, but I'm going to put up the shade cloth instead. I do have greenhouse plastic, but with it going to be a drought this year, I believe it's going to be just too hot for that plastic, and I'm just going to put up the shade cloth that I've saved over the years. So make sure you use shade cloth and plant windbreaks. Drought is often accompanied by dry wind, which can desiccate plants, and planting shrubs or installing temporary fencing can provide a buffer. So you want to have a wind buffer in these conditions around your plants. So choosing heat tolerant and drought resistant plants, you want to select the right plants. That's crucial for a successful garden here in the Southeast. And you want to focus on a variety of breeds that are heat tolerant and drought resistant. So for vegetables, you want to plant okra. You want to look for heat tolerant varieties like Solar Fire, Heat Master, or Phoenix. That's for the tomatoes. Peppers, you want to focus on Carolina Reaper and Sweet Banana. They perform pretty good in heat. Okra is a classic southern crop here, and okra thrives in high temperatures. Try, the crimson, spineless, or the emerald. Sweet potatoes, these are highly drought resistant here in the Southeast and produce well in hot summers. Cowpeas, another name is black-eyed peas. They are well suited for hot, dry conditions. Eggplant, varieties like Black Beauty or Ping Tongue, they handle heat really good. Southern peas, varieties such as Mississippi Silver, they are excellent for drought-prone areas. So herbs, what kind of herbs are going to do good in this environment? So rosemary is a Mediterranean herb, and it thrives in dry, hot conditions. Thyme, it's drought tolerant, and it's very aromatic. Oh, it smells so good. And there's just so many also different types of medicine that you can make with these herbs as well. Oregano, another Mediterranean herb that withstands heat. And lavender, it thrives in well-drained sunny spots. So flowers, oh, this is one of my favorite, y'all, is zinnias. They're bright and they're cheerful. And these flowers, they love heat, and they are also drought tolerant. Cosmos, I love those. Cosmos are a really good companion flower to plant around your garden, and that'll help keep some pests away. And I've even heard deer. We've got a lot of deer out here in the country, and they love to come and get into the garden. And I've heard that cosmos are really good about deterring all of that. And you also, a succulent called moss rose. It's an annual, and it thrives in hot, dry gardens. And there are trees and shrubs that are, if you want to plant that this year. Crepe myrtles, those are so beautiful. They are a southern staple, and that they bloom in the heat. Yucca, it's a hardy, drought-tolerant plant with striking foliage. Pineapple, guava, it's a small tree or shrub that handles heat and dry spells well. So, another thing that we want to talk about is planting strategies, the timing of all of this. So you want to start early. We're still early in our garden season here. It's still early spring, so you want to plant heat-loving crops as early as possible in late spring to give them time to establish before the peak of the summer heat. So right now is a really good time to get started. I have a lot of my seedlings already started. Succession planting, you want to sow seeds in batches every few weeks to ensure a continuous harvest and reduce the risk of losing an entire crop to extreme conditions. Spacing, plant closer. While proper spacing is important, slightly closer planting can create a microclimate where plants shade each other's roots, and reduce soil moisture loss also. And you want to do companion planting. So you want to pair plants with complementary needs. For example, plant basil near tomatoes to improve growth and repel pests. Use cover crops like cowpeas or clover in unused areas to improve soil health and reduce water competition. A good time to plant cover crops is also at the end of the garden season, when you have harvested everything and then you want to prepare the soil for next year's garden. Red clover is a really good cover crop to plant. It's also good if you have a homestead with horses and cows and whatnot, and they love to graze on that. So maintenance practices for drought gardening. Weed control, I'm not really too much worried about that with the lasagna garden, but weeds do compete with your plants for water and nutrients. So doing regular weeding is essential, especially in drought conditions. Pruning, remove excess foliage from plants like tomatoes and peppers to improve air circulation and reduce the water demand. Fertilizing. We talked about a lot of different types of natural fertilizer that we can use right now with there being a fertilizer shortage. But you want to use a balanced low-release fertilizer to avoid overstimulating the growth, which can increase the water needs of your garden. So avoid high nitrate fertilizers during summer drought, as they can encourage excessive foliage growth at the expense of root development. So, I know that my gardening soil that I'm putting in my lasagna garden, it's got a lot of different things in it. It even has chicken manure, but the chicken manure has been, I guess you could say, cured. It's cooled off. You don't want to put, and it is high in nitrates, but you don't want to put hot chicken manure on your garden. That'll burn it up. But it has a bunch of other different things in it. Compost, we've got mulch in there, wood chips, topsoil, just a mixture of everything. So that's what I've got to say about fertilizing. Don't forget the worm castings, they're good as well. So with pest and disease management, you want to monitor the plants closely for pests and spider mites, or there are these white moths that'll get in the garden and they'll lay their eggs, and then next thing you know, you've got tomato worms, these green-horned looking worms, and they will just eat up your tomatoes. So you want to use organic pest control methods such as neem oil or insecticidal soap to minimize stress on plants. I also use diatomaceous earth, food grade. That's something good that will help with pest control. And neem oil. You can buy dry neem and add water to it and create your own neem oil and put it in a bottle and spray your plants with it. So your gardening layout is for drought resistance. You want to group the plants by the water needs and place drought-tolerant plants together and keep water-intensive plants in a separate area where you can focus on irrigation efforts. Use raised beds or containers. These are easier to manage in terms of soil quality and water retention. You want to use self-watering containers for added efficiency, or I have some drip tape that I use that just slowly drips water into the beds. But again, with the lasagna style garden or the Back to Eden, those type of gardens, they do help retain moisture. So some additional tips for success here is you want to use heat tolerant cover crops. In the areas of the garden not in use, you want to plant cover crops like buckwheat, cowpeas, red clover, and to help produce the soil and add organic matter and suppress weeds. You want to monitor the weather and adjust, stay informed about local weather patterns, and if a heat wave is being predicted, take extra measures like providing temporary shade or increasing watering frequently. Be realistic now, okay? Accept that some plants may struggle in extreme conditions, but you want to focus on what thrives rather than trying to force crops that are not suited to the environment. So make sure you read your seed packages to make sure that they say heat resistant or drought resistant. And another thing that can help you with finding the right kind of seed is use AI. It'll tell you and it'll give you a list, okay? Keep it simple. So, gardening in the southeast during a hot, dry summer is challenging, but it's not impossible. By preparing your soil and selecting heat-tolerant plants, optimizing water use, and employing smart gardening techniques, you can create a productive and a resilient garden. Heat-tolerant gardening is not just about survival, it's about thriving in the face of adversity. With careful planning and consistent care, your garden can provide a bountiful harvest, even in the toughest conditions. So with that being said, I hope that you found this topic helpful. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, put them down in the down below in the where you want to ask a question, and I'll get back with you. And I will put a list of some plants that are heat resistant and water drought resistant here in the southeast in the description box. So until then, keep your hands dirty in the garden and keep planting in the garden and staying in the Word. God bless everybody, and thank you for listening. I will see you next time here in the countryside. Bye, y'all.